Hey, Exotical Barbie dolls. So today I want to talk about humbling tactics used on browner skin mixed women. So it's been a little while since I've made a full video about browner skin mixed women. And when I say that, I'm talking about the darker skin exoticals. I'm thinking of women like Chili, women like Tatiana Ali, women like her, the singer. I'm thinking of women like Sharon Leal, who is also Blasian, women like that. So, one of the humbling tactics that is often used on darker skinned mixed women is light skins won't accept you. You're below them. So, I've noticed that just like how in the black community in particular, they try to divide light skin and dark skin, I noticed that monoracials or monocultural black people, they tend to try to do that towards mixed people. They'll be like, oh, well, light skinned mixed women won't accept you. The lighter skinned biracials won't accept you. And it's like, wait a minute. Why is it that everybody else loves to speak on behalf of lighter skinned people? Everyone else loves to speak on behalf of mixed people as if we're sitting around having a meeting saying, oh no, we're not going to accept Chili as a mixed woman. She's not light skinned enough. Like, no, they're just trying to say that as a humbling tactic because they can tell that you still do look quote unquote mixed, or in their mind, they still feel like you were benefiting from things like texturism, featureism, pretty privilege, etc. Because I've said this on this channel before, colorism is used often to bring smoke against light skins, whereas texturism and featureism is often used to bring smoke against darker skinned mixed women. They like to use this talking point that somehow if you're not light skinned that you can't be mixed, and that's one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard in my life. Anyone who is actually mixed probably has siblings who are darker than them or cousins who are darker than them who are mixed race. I feel like the only people who think that mixed is only one look, those would be people who are like not mixed, or they've never actually been around mixed people, or they don't have mixed family members. Because anyone who actually is mixed, especially if you are multi-generationally mixed, like let's say you have a Creole background, let's say you have a Latin American background, or you have Arab in your background, or you have Blasian, a Pacific Islander background, a Black and Indian background. It's very common to have mixed people in your family who are not white passing. By the way, I myself am a multiracial person who is not white passing. I do not look white. I can get a tan to like maybe a deep caramel type of tone. So I am very aware of the fact that a person can be mixed race and not be white or not be super light or whatever. Another humbling tactic that people try to use on darker skinned mixed women is you are what you look like. So once again, they are obsessed. They're equating race to skin tone. I've noticed in the monocultural African American community, they're obsessed with skin tone because that's the only differentiator they have. So it's like, oh no, if you have a chocolate skin tone, oh, you're unambiguous and that's it. Meanwhile, there are plenty of people who have a similar skin tone to, let's say, somebody like Chili or Tatiana Ali. There are plenty of people in other ethnicities who have similar skin tones to that. I've seen Pacific Islanders with skin tones like that. I've seen like Tongan people or people with an Indian background or people with an Arab background who have deeper skin tones. So I've noticed that a lot of people, they try to use this gaslighting tactic of, oh, you are what you look like. And because you have the same skin tone as me and I'm unambiguous, that means you're unambiguous. And so they'll do this thing where they'll throw you in and out of the black community in the same way, though, because it's like, okay, you are what you look like, and so therefore you're still an N-word. It's that same you're still an N-word talking point, but then in the next breath, it's, oh, you're a texturist or you're a featurist. You're benefiting from texturism or featureism. If you have, let's say you have lighter eyes or you have like a different nose shape or whatever, you don't have this typical nose shape. Let's say your lips are like a little bit thinner or whatever, then suddenly you are still being differentiated due to featureism and texturism. Another talking point that I've heard against darker skinned mixed women is that you're trying to escape your blackness, or like, you feel inferior because you're not white passing, and so you're trying to tell everybody that you're mixed race because they wouldn't have otherwise known. First of all, who cares? Like, you like to tell other people that you're unambiguous, right? You call yourself melanin goddess, chocolate queen. You say your melanin is popping. You wear t-shirts that talk about your blackness. So why can't other people, regardless of their complexion, talk about their mixed race heritage? It's okay to be proud of your heritage. It's okay to be proud of your culture. And I'm so glad that the singer, I'm so glad that she's been really repping like her Filipino side. I'm glad that when she was doing that work with Disney, that she was, wearing the paraphernalia from her Asian side. That's beautiful. It's okay to love who you are and to love your family members. So once again, you can't argue with who someone's family members are. A lot of people forget that when you have a multiracial background, it's not just your looks. A lot of people forget that when you have a multiracial background, you're not defined simply by how you look. So for me personally, no matter how tan I get, no matter how dark I get, I still feel like I am mixed. You know why? Because of my cultural background. A lot of people who are multiracial tend to also be multicultural if they were raised like in the household with the family members from their other cultural backgrounds. So you can't argue with who someone's family members are. You can't argue with their cultural background, and that's it. I don't care what their skin tone is. I don't care if they have 4C hair. I don't care if they have the broadest nose ever. I don't care if they have big lips. And it's so funny because in the African American community, they will argue against anti-blackness, but then they love using anti-black talking points against mixed people and saying, oh, well, your hair is nappy. As a matter of fact, I need to make a video about texturism and how a lot of people in the black community, they'll use texturism against mixed race people, like how they did with Doja Cat. Like, oh, keep wearing those wigs, you're going to have no edges. If I ever said that to an unambiguous dark-skinned black woman, oh, if you keep wearing those wigs, you're going to have no edges, I would be called all kinds of texturist and racist. As a matter of fact, my channel would probably get deleted if I were to say something like that. But people can freely use anti-black talking points against people who are mixed with black because they see you as not fully black. And also, the fact that somebody even goes out of their way to use humbling tactics on you, that is proof that they see you as different than them. That's proof that they actually do see that you have a proximity to non-blackness, or they see that you are slightly different than them, or in their eyes, they may even think that you are quote unquote more privileged than them. Another humbling tactic that I've seen people try to use against darker skinned mixed people on my favorite website, Crusty Lip Alley, is that they're trying to latch on to lighter skinned mixed people or like biracial people who look more ambiguous as a way to increase their own desirability. So first of all, I think that's completely false because that doesn't work. We all know that pretty privilege doesn't trickle down. So just because you have a friend who's pretty, that doesn't mean that you are automatically pretty. And also, I don't believe that if somebody looks more white, that they are like automatically more pretty or more desirable. So once again, it's yet another anti-black talking point that is used against mixed people. Like, oh, well, you're not as good as the lighter ones. You're not as good as the whiter ones. It's so funny because they'll say to the darker skinned mixed women, oh, well, light skins won't accept you. They don't even acknowledge your existence. Oh, you're below them. You're not as desirable. And then they'll say the same thing to us lighter skinned people. They'll say, oh, white women won't accept you. You're not as desirable as them. They pay you dust. You are below them. So it's so funny how they use this standard of whiteness, and it's kind of like this stair-stepping standard of whiteness in their mind because they pedestalize whiteness as being at the top, and they believe that anything that is like slightly darker than whiteness is somehow below that. And so then they'll try to project that onto mixed race, darker skinned women and say, oh, because you're not light skinned, that you're automatically not as pretty or you're not as acceptable, or like, you'll never be the standard for mixed race anyway. I even saw one black women empowerment content creator. She was talking about how she went on some mixed race Instagram page where they show like babies and stuff like that. And she was like talking about how mixed race people will try to exclude people who are black and people who are darker skinned. And I'm thinking, first of all, you don't even know who the creator of the mixed race page is. Secondly, this whole assumption that all mixed race people are automatically colorist, let's talk about that. Like, why do they automatically have to say, oh, light skins won't accept you, you're automatically below them. Oh, white people won't accept you, you're automatically below them. Just like every white person is not racist, every light-skinned person is not colorist. So the fact that they're even telling darker skinned mixed women that light skins won't accept you, well, they are projecting their own stereotypes of light skins. It's because they're assuming that all lighter skinned people are colorist against darker skinned people, just like how they also assume that all white people automatically won't accept people who are mixed with white. That's idiotic. Anybody who's actually mixed race and multicultural has a fluid identity, meaning you know that you can go into white spaces, black spaces, Latin American spaces, and you'll be just fine, because that's a part of your own background. And yes, there are ignorant people in all races. So just because someone experiences racism, it doesn't mean that every single person on this earth is racist, or every single light-skinned person is colorist, or, if you have a darker skin tone and you look like Ryan Destiny, you're automatically going to be rejected. That's false. If Ryan Destiny truly believed that she would be rejected by mixed people, she wouldn't even talk about her mixed race background in interviews. She wouldn't post pictures of her mom. She wouldn't talk about her grandma being white. Chili from TLC, she wouldn't even talk about her mixed race background because she would automatically know, right? Oh, I'm not going to be accepted anyway, so fuck it. So the fact that these women are still coming out and being proud of their heritage and talking about it, and the fact that others are even asking them questions or even trying to humble them or pointing out their hair texture or their facial features, that is proof that they are, in fact, a part of the Pretty Girl Club. That's right, they are fellow Exoticals. I just feel like one of the main ways that people try to conquer is through division, right? Divide and conquer. So people who are threatened by us Exoticals uniting, they're going to try to divide us up based on whatever they can. They're going to divide you up and say, oh, well, you're not half white. So, people who are half white or people who are like quadroons or whatever, majority white, they would be in this category. They're higher up because they have more whiteness, right? So if you have Latin American, you're lower. Oh, if you're Blasian, you're lower. Oh, we got to divide you up. Who's light skin? Who's dark skin? Who has 4C hair? This is a divide and conquer tactic that is being used to try to ignite insecurities in us MLS people, and it's not going to work. We're not falling for it because not only are we the Pretty Girl Club, but we are also smart as fuck. That's right, the Exoticals have united. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.